We'll go ahead and call the budget workshop to order.
That's exactly correct.
At this time, if you would please just silence any electronic devices. If you have any comment to any of this, you're welcome to come up, speak clearly into the mic. But I'll turn it over to Ms. Apodaca.
Morning, Commissioners, County Manager, Madam
Can you,
Clerk.
Ms. Apodaca, will you pull it closer?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me a little bit better?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
So starting over, good morning. So I tried to go over this preliminary budget as best as I could to to include all of the requests from the commission, as well as include some of the requests from the different departments that we received. So some overall key changes that were included in your first preliminary budget that I want to cover first and foremost is the para rate increase from 19.54 to 20.42%. And that is for all regular municipal employees for the municipal plan 2A. And then the increase from 31.29 to 32.17%. And that is for all the law enforcement para. I also included a 5% COLA for all staff. County attorney, I did two different options for the county attorney. I actually did a salary schedule for. Okay. I included it in the salary schedule under the commission option, and the salary I did at a beginning rate of $100,000. And I also included it as a budgeted salary or a budgeted contract as we normally do. And that's also in the commission. We'll discuss that here shortly. Some of the additional things that I budgeted was I did budget the collection of the Tiger matching funds from Amtrak, and I showed it as a transfer from general fund to reimburse. So I want, just to put a little heads up out there, because at the end of our ending budget, that does include $3 million coming from Tiger that we have to it's not going to be a recurring cost. I also did a capital project, two capital projects. So I did the county building maintenance at $750,000 out of the additional 112, as well as $950,000 for county bridge maintenance. Some of the capital outlay requests that I did was $100,000 for the animal shelter, $50,000 for the manager office vehicle, $30,000 for rooftop units, $100,000 for toilets at VMDC, and $16,000 for health department sprinkler systems. The rooftop units, the toilets, and the sprinkler system are actually capital projects from last year that weren't completed. So I carried over. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and start on the preliminary budget.
Hold on, Ms. Apodaca, you said you did 100,000 carryover from the animal shelter? Is that what it was?
So we actually took the animal shelter out last year. I did re-add it this year.
Okay.
The carryover ones were the rooftop units, the sprinkler systems, and the toilets for the detention center.
Yeah, thank you.
So going to the preliminary budget one worksheet, you see off to the far right, three numbers. The first one is just budgeted revenues in the general fund plus transfers plus expenditure or minus expenditures. So for the first time ever, you see transfers in a positive integer of 1,615,000. Keep in mind that includes the $3 million transfer from the Tiger funds that collected into the general fund. So, we're kind of working off of the idea that we collect those next fiscal year, that $3 million. And then the next integer, you have 1,157,000, and that includes your hold harmless and your additional 112. And then the last integer is 1,897,000. And that includes your indigent care, your environmental, your fire excise tax, your additional 1/12, your hold harmless, as well as your general fund. Do we have any questions on that?
So, Ms. Apodaca, will you be showing us that 3 million that we're getting from the Tiger Fund and specifically how that's going to be spent?
It's gonna be a reimbursement back into the general fund.
But
That,
then it's getting expended, right? Oh, it's a reimbursement.
It's a
So covering
reimbursement.
previous expenses, but on here, so I guess your ending balance of 3 million, but the expenditures occurred in a prior budget, right?
So what happened, to answer your question is those expenses were already paid out of the Tiger grant. And they were paid to outstanding invoices that were due. So in order to cover those invoices, those expenditures, we had to actually transfer $3 million from the general fund into the Tiger grant fund. So once we collect the $3 million that was owed to us, then we need to transfer it back into the general fund. And it could be used for any kind of expenditures necessary. It's not earmarked for anything specific if that's.
But that money is, that 3 million is being expended in the current budget.
No, I guess I don't understand what your question is. So that $3 million was actually just a transfer into the Tiger grant. Once we collect that, we need to put it back in the general fund to replenish the general fund.
Right, I understand it was a transfer, but I'm just curious because the current year budget should be showing current year expenditures, right? And the expenditures for the Tiger grant were in prior budgets. So the transfer occurred in a prior budget. We transferred the money out of the general fund into the Tiger fund. We expended it. And now when we get reimbursed, we're going to transfer the money. So that all happened in a prior budget.
No, we haven't collected the $3 million. And I'm not sure when we're going to collect the $3 million. If we do collect the $3 million this fiscal year, you'll see it in the
So-
carryover balance.
Is that
But if
3
we don't
million
collect
included
it-
in that 9 million in revenue?
No, it's right here in the transfers. If you look at your transfer schedule, it shows $3 million coming into the Tiger grant and going out into the general fund. The reason I did it that way is because to date, we have not received the $3 million.
No, I understand.
So if that activity doesn't,
Budget, so we're planning on what we're going to receive,
yes,
and we're planning to receive that $3 million.
next fiscal year.
And I'd rather not plan to receive it.
It's just, it should be reflected in the ending balances somehow,
I can't reflect it in the ending balances because we haven't received it.
but it's a budget. So for budgeting.
And that's why I had to do it as a budgeted transfer,
Balance.
because that we're gonna have to record that activity as a transfer, because that's the way it's gonna come in. We're gonna have to receipt it in the Tiger grant because that's what it is for. And then we're going to have to transfer it back into the general fund. And we have to record that activity. And if it's not in our budget, it's gonna have to be a budgeted adjustment at the end of the next fiscal year.
So like on here, the 1.897 does not include the 3 million at all.
No.
Okay.
That's why I showed it as gonna be receipted in the Tiger and then as a budgeted transfer.
The transfer should affect your ending balance. So both the transfer out and the transfer in should affect your ending balance.
And it does. That's why I explained that the first integer right here is this plus this minus this equals this. And then, of course, minus your local reserve.
Right.
requirements. So
But
it
you're
is-
saying that that 3 million isn't in those numbers, those three?
No, that's not what I said at all. I said that it does include the $3 million. It's not showing in the budgeted
Revenues.
revenues and it's not showing in the beginning balance. It's showing as a transfer in.
Okay.
So it is included in the transfers, which is included in the ending balance as well as
Okay.
these amounts right here.
So it does include it in there.
It does. And that's mostly the reason why I just wanted to bring it to your attention, because in the event it is collected this fiscal year, you'll see it in this balance over here as opposed to in here.
You mean if it's collected before June 30th?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. And then you'll see these numbers change significantly.
Significantly.
Okay.
So this is just working off of as it stands right now. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. So moving on, I did send you a copy of the revenues with history. I went back 4 years, and those are actual revenues that are collected. And I use that to basically calculate with, of course, averages, all of our revenues for this fiscal year. There wasn't very much change, and if there is, there's justification for it. So I won't cover every single revenue that I changed because there's several. But if there's any questions on any of the revenues that we projected. So going on, all of our expenditures were submitted by our department heads. They were tied to our salary schedules. There was a couple of changes in our salary schedules that we'll cover. One of the changes that I wanted to cover immediately was in visiting with our county manager yesterday. He did want to make an adjustment to the attorney fees. And so we're going to change that from 250,000 down to 100,000. So that was one adjustment that's going to change that was not reflected in this. So if anybody has any questions on the budgeted expenditures, we can cover that. But general fund is basically everything that was submitted and input at the request of the department heads and the elected officials. So if we don't have any questions on that, we can kind of jump over to our salary schedules. Because I did make a couple of changes in our salary schedules that affect our expense budget. So starting with the first salary schedule, under the commission tab, you'll see I did budget the county attorney. I did not include it because I don't know which option you'd rather see in a budget. But based off of $100,000 salary with benefits, that's about $140,012. So moving on to the manager's office. All of our salary schedules do include a 5% COLA. And that was just at the recommendation of the commission. So I did build that in. And of course, you heard me talk about the para increase. So under the county manager's office, it is the 5% COLA and then plus an additional $20,000 for staff salary increases at the request of the county manager. So that is included in the salary schedule for the manager's office. Vector control remains the same. The maintenance department includes a 5% salary increase for the COLA. And then I also attached a copy of the salary schedule that Fred worked really hard on digging up all the research from different agencies to kind of make a little bit more competitive salaries in hopes to actually be able to recruit new staff. And he also asked for an additional staff. And the reason for that is because, we picked up the additional building. There's more grounds maintenance, more cleaning maintenance, and additional needs necessary. So if you look at the salary schedule that is also attached, We kind of did a little bit of work on building up the maintenance department. And in order to do that, we had to basically take a couple of different options from different municipalities and counties and just different. I think even use the Springer prison. So in collecting all that info, we wanted to do kind of like a stair step. So we wanted to do a beginning entry level as well as a maximum in each one of the steps. So of course, the highest step would be a maintenance supervisor. Entry level would be $42,723.20. And then the maximum top out at the maximum would be $74,339.20. Then he wants to have a maintenance lead. So in that maintenance lead, it would be individuals who basically have the skill set to do a lot of the job that we usually contract out. They could do a lot of more of the plumbing, a lot more of the electrical work, a lot more of those kinds of things, other than just basic maintenance and custodial work. And that salary would be $41,246.40 to begin, and the maximum is $61,859.20. And then we have the maintenance tech, which would be basically your custodial workers. The minimum would be $37,876.80, and the maximum is $56,804.80. That being said, we did have to do a little bit of increases in our departments for the maintenance department. So the proposed changes are included on this salary schedule for the maintenance department. Does anybody have any questions on that? I don't know if Fred, you have any more input other than what I talked about.
Just one question, if I may. Would it be necessary to change some of the job descriptions if we go with this model? Because I don't remember us like having a lead or anything like that, so we would need to change the job description.
Well, we had an actual setup for maintenance worker one, maintenance worker two, and
Right.
maintenance worker. That was our setup.
Right.
What we decided to do to both everybody else is we're gonna go with tech, two, lead, and supervisor. Each description will have, each job duty will increase as they go up. So that way, if a tech. Great. As a tech two, they'll, for instance, a tech one could transfer to a tech two or as they grow up, as they are qualified to do that tech two job. And there's requirements for all three different positions.
Thank you.
So entry level would be maintenance tech, and the beginning salary would be $18.21.
Do you think you'd have a better success at getting a part-time instead of a full-time position? Because I know we're having a difficult time anyways trying to fill these positions.
Yes, we could try, but I would do that. We have to look into that. I don't know. We never looked into that before. So it's been full time.
Thank you.
Part of this request is he would have two leads. So right now, you have one employee who would be considered a lead. So he'd want to add another lead to that as well as one tech. So you'd have the equivalent of one supervisor, two leads, and then two techs.
So Mr. Chairman, so can you help us understand the
Sorry.
need for an additional headcount? Are there things that are not getting done? Is it new responsibilities that are coming on board?
Well, not so much new responsibilities, but some of our buildings that have grown has been the detention center. At one time, there was actually going to be 2 personnel there, but that never came to effect. The other building was a judicial. They did have 2 personnel there. Even at one time, Joni can correct me, they used to have a maintenance personnel per floor in this building. So now we've acquired another building. So yes, some of our job duties are slacking on a lot of things.
So
And
in
that-
part it is like the new building is in part
Right,
contributing to this need.
right.
Are y'all struggling with getting everything done?
Basic. We're getting everything done, but we have set priorities, like for a snow day, we'll have all four of our guys out there pushing snow and something doesn't get done here. So yes, we're getting it done, but it just seems that one extra hand would help.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next tab is the clerk's tab. There was no change other than the 5% salary increase. And then, of course, election, no change. The assessor's office, actually includes 5% COLA plus a memo per Chris. And I believe, the salary changes, per assessor, were based on just basically an evaluation and, job performance. 1% fund, there was no change in that other than just a little simple reallocation. The treasurer's office, there is only a 5% salary increase. However, I believe that, we'll probably work together and try to, implement a additional part-time position. So that might change next budget. The sheriff's office is a 5% salary increase, based on the COLA. However, I am working with the sheriff and the undersheriff on, doing some additional, salary increases with them. And also take note that, there are two positions in here that are, one of them is the administrative assistant, and then the other one is a deputy sheriff, where 80% of their salary is being actually reallocated, to expend the grant funding. So, we do have, a couple of savings in those positions. Actually, there's three. There's one of them that's going to come out of the last allocation of the year 3. And then there's two of them that are going to come out of the 2-year allocation of the year of the new grant. So there's 3 positions that are not budgeted at the full amount, because those are actually going to come in grant funding. So the remaining portion of their salary, you will see on the next tab that I entitled the LERR.
So we're not absorbing any of these new positions this year,
Not at 100%, no,
just at 20%.
just at, well, some of them are at 20%, and then there's another one that's at, around 30%. So the total cost savings is 187,600. And that's just to basically absorb the remaining portion of the grants. Moving on to the detention center, that it's also just a 5% salary increase. I am working with Regina on, basically structuring a salary, schedule similar to the maintenance department, where there will be, caps put on, different job positions. And there'll be some adjustments there. We haven't quite gotten to the point where we could put these into the salary schedule. However, our goal is to include them at the next one. The probate judge, very simple, elected official salary, no change there. Road department, this is just basically the 5% salary, cost of living. Also, I am, also working with Glenn, on these salary schedules. We're not there yet. He did, submit something to be proposed. However, it needs a little bit of tweaking. So, we will come back to the drawing board and put that in by the next workshop. Going on to the solid waste fund, nothing changes on there. Just our 2 employees and 5% cost of living. And then lastly, in the fire airport, no change there, just the 5% cost of living. So if there's any questions on the salary schedule?
Yeah, maybe one for the manager. What, the 20,000 increase, what's your intent?
Intent on that, Vice Chair Kern, is we're looking at kind of reevaluating some of the positions and actually coming up with newer positions or newer job descriptions and assigning additional responsibility as well.
Any other questions?
No question, but, and I know that, Joni, you said that you were gonna be working with the treasurer's office and that. I'd like to see their lower position, come in a little closer to what the other,
Agree with you.
administrative positions are being paid. But I'm sure you guys can work that out.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
I would like to, I don't know, do we want to continue on or do you want me to hear what I have to say as far as?
Whatever you'd like.
So you're proposing to increase the county's para contributions, right?
It's this, it's actually gonna be
It's mandatory. Okay.
mhm.
Then that's fine. My other thought is I'd rather see a 3.5% instead of the 5 on the COLA. Just the 5's on the higher end. I know teachers are getting a 3%. The CPI was 3.48. So I feel like 3.5 is kind of more within reason. I'm not sure how my other commissioners feel on that. And I guess we'd have to discuss the attorney fees and stuff like that, but I propose maybe just a cap at 150 and then, or have 150 in there, which way we decide to go. That 150 should be enough to cover either the attorney or bringing on a full-time attorney or just capping the fees at that. So if we incur anything over, it's just on them. John, did you work with the electeds at all to make sure that they'd be attending or have funding in there to attend like BIPO or any of these other trainings?
The majority of them all do have salary or per diem and employee training as well as mileage in their budgets.
Okay. And then on the vector control, I know last year we had an issue of trying to get that situated as far as it being filled. I know Hardness used to do a part of it. Do we need to look at that pay any to actually see that position gets filled this year? Because currently we don't have anyone, is that?
So I don't really know what they have as the hourly rate advertised. I just know that they work like 3 months out of the year. So it usually just doesn't exceed that, but we can increase it if necessary.
Okay. And I wouldn't like to include the 3 million from that Tiger.
Don't include it.
No, because I don't know
Well-
That basically boils down to my original question, Mr. Chairman, which is, if we don't get the 3 million, this is just rewording what I was trying to get at before. If we don't get the 3 million, what are we gonna have to pull out?
exactly.
I asked, what are we spending the 3 million on? Didn't really get an answer to that. If you don't get the 3 million, what are we gonna have to pull out?
So I'll have to show it as a budget, a transfer, but I could subtract 3 million out of those totals to show you what that is gonna equal. I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
subtraction. It's not hard, but The thing about it is we will have to record it on our budget as a transfer.
That's fine.
But I could subtract it out. I mean, so obviously, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring it to your attention, because obviously then these will not be a positive balance.
Because if we did get if we didn't include the 3 million in the budget, since we're not guaranteed to get it, if we did get it, we could just bar it into the budget later.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, you could do a budget adjustment. I mean, either way, either I can do it as a budgeted as in the budget, or we could do a budget adjustment later. If I did leave it as built into the budget, all I would do is just change my formula to subtract out $3 million. It's neither here nor there. It's just the reason I did it like that. And like I said, the reason why I brought it to the attention of the commission is mostly for that simple fact, is because if that money is not received, you're going to see these significantly change. And I didn't want to make it seem as though that was a reoccurring expenditure, because it's not, or a reoccurring revenue, because it's not.
But again, back to my original point is the ending cash balance is only about 200,000 more than the beginning cash balance. So it is being expended. So without knowing what it's being spent on, we're not going to see how it's going to affect the budget if we don't receive it.
It's being spent on, I mean, just operational expenditures.
I'd like to understand what that is.
Your salaries, your expenses, anything that's being budgeted. In this overall budget on your projected costs, not every, dollar amount is actually shown how it's being budgeted. It's just being budgeted in your operational expense and general fund, if that makes sense. Because if it's showing here as a transfer in, then it's just being expended in the overall budgeted expenditures within general fund.
So you don't have a detailed budget by GL account number?
Well, if you look on your tab that says 2024 projected costs, and it shows every single expense. So, I mean, your mileage.
So how would those
Sure.
detailed GL account numbers be affected without that $3 million?
Well, on your recap, all of your ending balances will be negative. Like I just explained, your ending balance
Get
will be
that.
negative, as well as this will be negative. And that's what I wanted to bring to the.
I understand the math. I'm just saying, I want to understand how it impacts the budget. Which line items are going to have to take cuts if we don't get that $3 million?
Well, every single one. I mean, because you'll have a $2 million deficit.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes, thank you. I think if we're gonna include the 3 million with the assumption that we're gonna get paid, then we need to separate out maybe some one-time expenses, like the capital improvements in that, and tie that to the one-time expenditure, because our salaries and all of that needs to be balanced on reoccurring revenues, and that, but the 3 million's a one-time shot, then we need to pair that up with one-time expenses.
And that's why I'd like to exclude it.
So.
And that's exactly
just
my
to
concern
clarify-
is that 3 million is being included in reoccurring expenses. What's it going to do to us next year? So that's why I want to see an itemized listing of what that expenditure is going to be.
And just so you know, the only capital project that I have budgeted that's general fund is this 1,700,000. And I did exclude that from these balances right here. Just
Can we
because
see
they
it?
are one-time expenditures.
Can we see her screen?
Is it not on?
No,
Oh, sorry.
it's just our smiling faces.
No one wants to see that.
I'm not online.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's fine.
Okay, but if you look on your salary, on your actual, on your worksheet, the 1.7 million that's showing on budgeted expenditures under the additional 112 is not included in the ending balances all the way over to the right, because those are one-time expenditures. So I did not include those in there. And then the rest of the capital projects, as far as the animal shelter and as far as the vehicle for the county manager's office and the toilets and whatever else that was included in the capital projects that I mentioned are not general fund projects either. So the ones just to, I mean, I hope this clarifies everything. The ones that are actually budgeted is just general funds. I'm not on mine. Not on it.
I guess what I would like to see is just basic general reoccurring expenses first to start and excluding the 3 million, the county building, the bridge. So at least and then with the pay increase, so we know that this is a reoccurring expense. But after that, we see the actual budget we do have remaining, and then we could allocate as needed. Commissioners, I don't know. Commissioner Kern,
I would agree with that.
Commissioner Ware.
I agree. I just want to see what the
See where,
increases, how they're going to affect reoccurring revenue.
okay. And I guess, do we know how much, Madam Treasurer, maybe you know, how much cash do we have available for other stuff that's outside of, I guess, general fund, or that we can spend?
That I could say, the money to have, checking accounts, the benefits, yeah. And it's around 19 million.
None. Okay. That's not all our money though, right?
Here's basically,
That's
what we're going to start with in
that's
cash,
what we're gonna start with.
about $8 million in the general fund.
In the general fund, after expenses.
No, that's to begin with. And
So
then
that's
after we spend it, this is what we're gonna have, this is what we're gonna have left, about 7 million.
Okay. Thank you.
That 11 million buys right now in the market, and I take that from there as needed when the close.
Well, thank you. Just a few other. Are we done, Jonah, with everything in there? Cause I want to go back to the funding requests.
Yeah.
How are we on time?
20 minutes.
And then just something for my fellow commissioners to consider too. I know it's going to be coming on the agenda about the Angel Fire Airport. And then also we had the 4 buildings within the county. And I don't know if that would, if essentially we'd be getting rid of 5 buildings, if that would impact maintenances. Huh? Well, no, not getting rid of, but I'm just talking, like if we were able to transfer the soy building to the schools, is what I'm talking, like hypothetically. That would, and then if all works out, that'd be maybe potentially, we'd still probably hold on to Youth Heartline, because we're still waiting to see if there's an interest to purchase to own. But that could also, I don't know if that would impact the maintenance's need for another employee or not, because that would remove some of the stuff. You want to go into this, Jonah, the funding request? Did you have any?
No, so back to, oh, and I'm still not able to do it, but if you take the $3 million out, that leaves, including all of your budgeted, reoccurring costs as well as, general fund, to include the environmental, the indigent and everything that we have been, that leaves a negative balance of 952,965.
That also includes the county building stuff and the roads department and our county bridge, right?
Yeah, that includes everything as is with 5% salary increase plus all of the rest of the stuff. It's not, I can't even find it.
Well, that's.
Yeah.
Just the county bridge alone would. Okay.
And I think I'm gonna close my phone.
Just for the sake of time, I'm gonna go to the funding requests on here. Or as far as the MCMC funding, I mean, I just like to, I don't really have anything in particular besides the EMS and maybe the baby boxes to be expended out of there. Capital improvement, balance carryover. The two things that came to mind were the repainting inside in here in the county building, fixing some of the offices like the assessors, and then the courthouse sidewalk repair.
And I did budget the $750,000 for, I did budget $750,000 for that, and then 950 for road and bridge maintenance under the additional.
And what is that 750 gonna comprise of? What aspects of the remodel of this building are we looking at? Because there's no question this building needs help, but I think we should prioritize a new building for the streets department above rehabbing this building. Actually, we have enough cash to do both. I don't know why both aren't on here. But streets needs a new building and they need it now. It's actually a hazard, that building they have. Like everybody's shaking their head yes over there. They all know it's true. It should be a priority. It's a safety issue.
So I guess, I mean, that would be at the wishes of the commission. I can increase that. However, right now, how it stands is $950,000 for county building, $750,000 for bridge maintenance. Those were both recommendations off our last budget workshop, and that's what I took, and I used that number. If there wants to be changes, I mean, that's up to the commission.
Okay, thank you. Two other things that I would like to do is, and I want to hear what the commission would feel. I'd propose to do maybe 200,000. I'd like to put it as a matching funds for something for the youth regarding maybe a park or something here within, I'd say Raton, but I mean, it'd be interested if the city of Raton would have to fork up the other half, 200,000 to actually do something. We need to focus on the youth. I think if you could keep the youth happy, you could keep the rest of the families happy. Just makes the life a little bit easier. And then this opioid funding, to be honest with you, I don't know where to even go with that. And I don't know if the fellow commissioners do. I read an article on in the Wall Street Journal, and it talked about some of the biggest benefit was education within the jails. And also, I don't know if, but I like the thought of kind of like the AED boxes are around county buildings. Maybe do like a Narcan box around the buildings. I don't know if there's any thoughts on any of that, but I'm just throwing that out there. And I know they have also, in that article I read, they actually, it's 183,000 is what the county has. But they've pulled it with other surrounding communities to actually do something, get a larger amount to make more of an impact. But I think it's just the counties that receive this funding. Commissioners, any comment on those two?
I think a lot of it could be used at the detention center, like you indicated. Morton Slade could probably chime in, but even part of it may be may be able to justify a little bit of your medical expenses through that. Offset a little bit of the general fund draw.
Commissioner Weir?
Well, I would, I don't know if it's because of the stage you're at, but I did notice that the MCMC hospital fund doesn't have, any, at least on this, maybe it's just showing income. It's not showing it. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Is the $40,000 grant program per EMS service still included in the budget out of MCMC?
It will be, I didn't include it in this round, but yes, right now I focus on general fund and funds that affect the general fund,
Okay.
so that we had a rough idea of where we sat. So this doesn't include any of the fire funds, and it doesn't include any special funds.
Okay.
The next round, I do know that there are several individuals, for legislative appropriations that want to present to the commission for their requests. And at that point, I also felt like it was probably time to build in the special fund, so that way you have a good picture of everything all together.
Okay, thank you.
There's gonna be some matching funds for transportation grants for the road department. That's also gonna affect general fund. However, at this point, when we were building that, I did work with Tammy, and we're still kind of trying to collect all of that information and make sure we have an accurate dollar amount on the matching funds for the road department.
And I think too, and I know you said you're working with the sheriff, but I don't believe 5% is going to be sufficient there to retain or recruit, especially after what the governor did with the state police salaries.
I actually sent Chris Shear salary schedules for an additional 5, 10, and 15%, so.
Thank you. I think the commission is going to have a whole lot to consider.
Mhm.
And then lastly, I just wanted to, I know we kind of discussed about taking additional funds out of, for capital projects. The only other, I mean, we have an ending balance because we are using the additional 1/12 and the hold harmless as general fund money. So the ending balance after the 1,700,000 is 626,000. And you do have the hold harmless with the ending balance of 1,832,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioners, anything further? Anything further from the public?
So now that I'm actually able to share my screen, here's a little bit. There's a clear picture of without budgeting $3 million.
Thank you. See nothing further, commissioners? We'll go ahead and close the budget workshop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we set a date for the next one and maybe the docket or?
Want to do the 14th before our meeting?
14th at 8 AM?
Commissioners,
I'm sorry, what's up?
the 14th at 8 AM, would that be okay for the next budget? It's before our next meeting. Same day.
When are we hoping to do approval on the 28th?
call the regular Board of Colfax County Commission meeting to order for April 23rd. If you would please silence any electronic devices. And if you would please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Commissioner Kern, sent you a request
Pledge
yesterday.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner, where would you please? I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, to see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
one of our guest speakers has not received a Zoom link as yet.
Okay.
BJ Lindsay.
All righty. We'll go ahead and move forward with item number 4 is approval of the agenda. Commissioners, is there any changes that you see need made on the agenda? If seen none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second that. Madam Clerk,
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
approval of the agenda.
I abstain.
Okay,
okay. Chairman Truhill.
yes.
I'm sorry, I was not listening. I didn't
Oh.
say yes to something else.
And now we know where Maggie gets it from.
Moving on to item number 5 is approval budget hearing minutes. Meeting minutes, public hearing meeting minutes, and regular meeting minutes for April 9th, 2024. Any corrections, commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve as stated.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
Chairman Truhill.
Yes. Moving on to item number 6 is recognition of visitors. Do want to thank everyone for coming. Online, we do have the county engineer, Mike Provine, and county attorney, June Rowe. Tim, if you would just start over here, stand up, introduce yourself, and we'll just go ahead and get Taryn, Mr. Bustos, and go back and forth.
And Giacomo and his office. Mr. Grant, Colfax County Assessor.
Thank you all very much. Moving on, we'll go on to item number 7 is public comment. At this time, public comment, this is for anything that's not listed on the agenda. At any point, if you have public comment, would you please come up to the podium and speak clearly into the mic? You'll be limited to 3 minutes. Is there any public comment at this time? Gordon Slade?
That's what's going to do. Time.
Good morning. I just wanted to say, last week, our condenser in our freezer broke. And I wanted to, say a big thanks to the Senior Citizen Center who allowed us to utilize their freezer so that we didn't have to dispose of a lot of our food product. So I just wanted to give a big thanks to the Senior Citizen Center for allowing us to utilize it. It is now fixed. Our stuff is picked up, but they did a great service for us. We didn't lose any product.
Okay, well, thank you for
Great.
letting us.
Thank you.
Any further public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 8, discussion and approval of indigent care claim. Actually, I haven't seen this.
Didn't get a report.
Okay,
No action.
so no action will be taken on that. Moving on to item number 9, discussion action. Is Mr. Lindsay able to join us yet?
Mr. Chairman, can
Yeah.
I make a motion to table until Mr. Lindsay's able to join us?
Yes, so that's a motion?
I'm sorry.
That's a motion?
That's a
Yes,
motion to table.
Second.
it's been seconded. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Kern.
Yes.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
Chairman Truhill.
Yes. Moving on to item number 10, discussion action proclamation of National Mental Health Awareness a Month. County Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, this is just a resolution for National Mental Awareness Month. And we've included that in the packet for your signature.
Commissioners, is there any comments you'd like to make, Commissioner Kern?
No.
No. No. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Kern.
Yes.
Mr. Ware.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 11, discussion action, promotional funding request. 6-pack outdoors charcoal burner. Ms. Colangelo?
Hey, good morning. Included in your packet is the lodger's tax application for the 6-pack outdoors. What it is a bike race that they're having in Bermejo, and he's requesting for the fundings to help pay for the t-shirts that will be given to riders that are participating in the event. He's actually requesting the 26-25. He did go out locally to Sandy Lemons, I believe it's Lemon Drop, for the t-shirts to be made up. And we're just asking for your approval for 26-25 for event t-shirts. And they will have the Colfax County logo on them.
Sure, any questions? No. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Kern.
Yes.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
Chairman Truhill.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 12, discussion action, promotional funding request, Chase Ranch Foundation Open House.
Good morning. I'm gonna read it up here. It's a funding requested by the Chase Ranch Foundation. They're gonna have a big, huge event, but I'd like her to give a little explanation of what is happening that weekend.
It's an open house at the Chase Ranch Museum, which is the house itself, which has lots of art and artifacts and the grounds around it. We've completed an electrical renovation and cleaned up a lot in the house. The main funds are promotion of the event, but we also are going to put up some signs at the turnoff from Highway 64 in town, a couple of places, not just during the event, but afterward. We thought Friday, the 5th would be a good day after the Maverick Rodeo. People would be in town for that. And hopefully some of them will stay, although a lot of them take off. But we'd like people to be aware that Chase Ranch is not owned by Philmont anymore. It is the still in trust by the Chase Ranch Foundation, as Gretchen Samuels wanted to keep the ranch as a model of a southwestern ranch in Colfax County. This will be a good opportunity for people to come see the ranch and be aware of its history.
Thank you. Commissioners?
No question?
No? Commissioner?
Mr. Chairman, the only thing I want to say is I've had the pleasure of visiting the ranch, and it's an amazing, the building, the structure, the barn is huge, and it's something that Colfax County should be promoting.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I have yet to see it, so I hope to go down and see it. I always hear of the gardens though. So,
Yes, and we have, Thelma's still trying to do the vegetable garden, and we have someone we just hired to do the other flowers in the rose garden, so we're hoping to have the grounds looking beautiful as well as the house for the event.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
I
Thank-
appreciate your consideration for our application.
Thank you. Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I will abstain from vote on this matter as I am a member of the board of directors for the Chase Foundation.
All right.
And I agree with both of you. It's a tremendous asset to our county. Been involved with the Chase Ranch for decades. And there's an unbelievable amount of history within that home. And I would recommend if anybody has the opportunity to attend this event that they should.
Yeah.
But I abstain.
Thank you. And that is July 3rd through the 5th. Oh, it's only the 5th. Okay.
Volunteers and staff for the whole event, because so many people in Summer on our whole.
Gotcha.
So tours are available during the week at other times of the house, but this event will only be.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the lodger tax request for the Chase Ranch event.
Thank you. I'll second that. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern,
Abstain.
Chairman, or Commissioner Weir.
Yes.
Chairman Trio.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Lindsay's on.
You okay with bringing Mr. Lindsay?
Yeah.
All right, Commissioners, I'll ask that we now bring up item number 9, discussion action. Angel Fire Airport Mayor of Angel Fire, BJ Lindsay.
We need to remove it from the table.
I move to remove it, item 9 from the table.
Second.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Weir,
Yes.
Chairman Trio.
Yes. Thank you. Mayor Lindsay, thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir, Chairman Trujillo, thank you, commissioners, manager. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come before you today to discuss more about the possibility of a transfer of the Colfax County Regional Airport to the village of Angel Fire. You had given me the opportunity a few weeks ago to bring this before you as a discussion item, and I wanted to follow up at this time based on that meeting. Commissioner Kern had asked that we come forward with a more solidified plan as to how this transfer might take place and how the village, how it would see operating the airport in the future. And at this time, I wanted to let you know that we have come up with a list of people that are more than willing to serve on a committee here in the village. And we could name that committee formally as soon as our next regular council meeting. If we're still considering taking this forward, that committee would be established just to help with the develop of the transfer agreement, as well as plan for short-term operation of the airport, as well as proposing our long-term operational goals. So we would like to get that moving forward as soon as possible. We will also be asking for community involvement, community input on this matter more and more as word gets out. One other area that I wanted to bring up that I didn't in the last meeting was our lodgers tax funds. The village of Angel Fire currently has approximately $1.5 million in lodgers tax funds that have not been encumbered at this date. And we could lobby to have that money to our lodgers tax committee to have that money or some of that money, not all of it obviously, but a portion of it allocated to the airport for immediate improvements, advertising anything that falls in line with obviously the appropriate use of lodgers tax funds. And we feel like we could make some great headway in the very near short term. We would ask, of course, that the commission even be involved at our local meetings and give their input. to see how this could work to benefit not only the citizens and visitors of Angel Fire, but the entire county. So at this time, I'd stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Kern?
No questions at this time. I guess, I still want to see what the business plan is, Mayor Lindsay, and maybe some direction from Mr. Provine if it's appropriate on if we go forward with this, what the process is.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I spoke to State Aviation after our previous meeting about the process. They were not sure of that as far as the state level goes, but also FAA. I have put out a feeler to FAA. They were asking more specifics about timing, stuff like that, how the agreement would be structured. So I guess at this point, I'll go back to FAA and let them know the status now. And I suggest that we get maybe it's a Zoom meeting together with the county and FAA and possibly the village to discuss how this might work moving forward and the timing of that. So I will get back with FAA after this meeting and move it forward.
Well, thank you. And Commissioner Kern, again, I appreciate the need for the business plan, and we will be working again with this committee to formulate just that. But I do think we do need some guidance from the county and the FAA as to how we just see structuring this agreement.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, is that right? I think this is atypical, if you will, or a little unique as far as I think the agencies have seen. They were going to, FAA was going to talk at the region level and possibly move up to headquarters to see how this would be done, or if it's been done in other places. And so I'll check back in with our program manager at FAA hopefully this afternoon and chat with her some more about it and get something moving. So yeah, I know it. Everybody's kind of looking at each other saying, well, how do we do this? And I think the only way is to sit down and figure out how to do it. So let's get that going.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. I would assume that the state aviation and the FAA would want to just see any agreements that they have in place carry over with no changes to the village of Angel Fire. You have my support for the most part in it all. I like Commissioner Kern. I just like to see the business plan and kind of investment that you're looking to put into the airport and just the public comment from that. And that's pretty much all I have. Commissioner Weir, I know you've abstained prior, but okay. Commissioner Kern, anything further?
No, I mirror what you said. I would support this, just want to make sure that it's done properly. And
Yeah. Well,
I
thank you.
think it could be a win-win for everybody.
I certainly agree, and I just appreciate you having me again today. And I just want to keep this before everyone so that we can continue to try to move forward on this. So again, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Mayor.
One request, I think it's going to be a long time before we actually take any action on this. So if it's going to be on the agenda, unless there's actually a decision to be made, it just needs to be under discussion.
We can make that happen. Thank you, Commissioner Kern. So now we will go back on to item number 13, discussion and action of property use and liability insurance agreement between Colfax County and Raton Main Street International Santa Fe Balloon Fiesta Balloon Rally. Sir, County Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is our annual balloon rally that we conduct every year, and we have requested insurance and looks like everything's in order. And I would recommend to the board that we agree on it.
Commissioners, any questions, comments? Commissioner Kern? No. Commissioner Ware?
Nope.
Only thing is I would request is that Colfax County also be considered a sponsor in this, since they are using the county property. And just shows to help collaboration between the two, that we are working with not only the city of Raton, but Raton Main Street. So, but I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Drew?
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. Item number 14, discussion action, approval and ratify aviation grant agreement between NM Department of Transportation, Aviation Division, and AXX Angel Fire Colfax County Project AXX-24-03. Commissioners, this is something that due to timing, I requested your kind of approval during my commissioner docket to go back and ratify this. The county is receiving a grant total of $913,317 from New Mexico State Aviation, where our match is $9,133. And this is for airfield lighting rehab, beacon replacement, and land acquisition. So commissioners, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Drew?
Yes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the state grant is actually, 82,200. The FAA portion would be the other part on that grant the grant agreement with the state is 821,984, but your match is still the 9133. So the grand total of both the state and what FAA would offer would be the 913,000.
Thank you, Mike. All right, we'll move on to item number 15 is discussion action of Colfax County investment policy. Madam Treasurer.
Good morning, everybody. Those adjustments were made by the county attorney. And then we attached a back page for your signatures. Did you go over it to make sure everything's okay?
Any commissioners, Commissioner Kern,
No question.
Commissioner Ware?
Nope, looks good.
My only question is, I just don't recall right now, but did we have it where, let's say, if I'm sitting on this committee, we have a representative from Commissioner Ware's district and a commissioner from,
Right.
okay, thank you. I have nothing further. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Drew?
Yes.
Can I please get a copy when all the signatures are done so we can have it for our file?
Of course.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Dollar a page.
$1 a page.
Dollar a page.
Madam Clerk, did you ready to do the vote?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 16, discussion action, Colfax County building tenant notification policy. Commissioners, this is just something that I wanted to bring in front of us. I really believe that as a county, we should not be landlords, but still, I believe it is, if we are, we need to give proper notice across departments to enter into a property, at least 24 hours notice, unless there is emergencies of damage to property or other reasons. So commissioners, is there any questions on this?
So, Mr. Chairman, my only question was, do we need to in any way define what emergency is? I mean, you know, something to, if we're gonna do this, I wonder if, because it just says to consider it an emergency. Well, you know, what's one person's emergency may be somebody others, you know, not consider it an emergency. I just didn't know. I mean, I don't have any issue with this, giving, prior notice, 24-hour notice, but I'm just concerned about, you know, if we're gonna do it, maybe we should do it right and put in the legalese of what an emergency consists of.
County Attorney?
Life or loss.
Yeah, good morning, Chairman Trio and Commissioners. I believe that this is the notification policy. It's subject to the, the lease agreement. So if the lease agreement is controlling documentation, and then you can see that the landlord and or each agent, meaning the Colfax County, can consider whether something is emergency. So I think it tried to provide, the Colfax County's discretion to decide whether some issue can be subject to the emergency, and then the emergency issues is normally defined under lease agreement. So I try to provide a more discretion to the county, because they are the one who make any emergency maintenance or any type of repair. So I think it seems to be that it's normally in business contract, the business owners, meaning the county, can have a discretion to decide whether or not this is something emergency. Of course, if they try to buy it prior notice, that'll be great too. But unless we, change that the lease agreement, which specified, liability for emergency repairs, I think this is something that the county should be deciding whether or not some matter should be emergency, sir. So I think that's why we put a little general language subject to the specified language in the lease agreement.
Thank you. Commissioner Kern, did you want to state what you had there, or maybe just enter that in?
Yeah, I think, at risk of life or loss of property.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Commissioner Weir, would you feel like that's adequate?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, it does give the county the advantage. I'm just, I just don't know if we're gonna get into a situation where somebody needs to replace a light bulb and they think it's an emergency, so they go in to do so, and then the tenants say, well, that's not an emergency to me, and I just thought it might. I mean, this, gives the county a lot of authority in determining what an emergency is. So it's good for the county. I don't know if it solves a problem that occurred that brought this to our attention.
I think it would overall, and I'd entertain a motion to approve adding emergency, with the bracket, as Commissioner Kern stated, life or loss of property.
Risk of life or loss of property or property loss.
So I made the motion. Is there a?
Oh, you made the motion.
Yeah.
Second.
It's been moved and second, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Trio?
Yes.
You should run it by June to make sure that's right.
Okay. June, is there any issues with that language?
Well, I think, the Commissioner Kern's statement was very, I think, good at this time, but we can add the one language, something we normally put that in our lease agreement, that unexpected maintenance issue. So make sure that we can have some, which require that the piece of equipment suffers and some kind of breakdown or change in condition. So I think we can have that at least, not just light bulbs, about some type of the unexpected maintenance emergency issue. I can put that in over there too, sir. So consistent with the lease agreement.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
If we're gonna make major changes, then we just need to.
Well, we already had a motion and reapproved it, but I mean, they'll adjust maybe the leases moving forward.
Adjust the leases.
Okay. Thank you.
Item number 17, discussion action, contractor's application for payment in Chickarica Creek Low Water Crossing, Rocky Road Gravel and Well Drilling LLC. County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. as everybody is aware, we did put in a low water crossing. We had it re-engineered. We had completed the project. The compression reports were reviewed by our engineer. They are fine. Looks like everything's good. The fence that was taken down has been put back up. And so with that, I would recommend that we go ahead and pay Rocky Road Gravel and Well Drilling LLC.
And County Manager, this amount for the 191,833.71 is the amount approved prior?
I believe so.
And Mr. Provine, there's no issues with issuing this payment?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, no, we reviewed the pay request and reviewed the work and everything seems in order.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Kern,
No questions.
Commissioner Ware?
I just want to confirm that we didn't pay anything additional for the additional culverts or the material that was laid that had to be retracted or any of that work. Is that correct, Mr. Manager?
That is correct, Mr. Weir, Commissioner Weir. What happened is because we re-engineered it and we didn't put as much dirt on top, we were able to keep the price the same. And we even, as you can see from some of the pictures and pictures that we presented, that it's been gravelled with 4 to 6 inches of tailings that actually looks like it's paved now. But at this point, we just kept the price the same.
And Mr. Chairman, did we, or are we going to have to pay anything additional in engineering fees?
Mr. Provine, are we gonna be paying you for engineering fees for this was re-engineered?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, no, we took care of that. The adjustments were made. No further costs to the county.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Moving on to item number 18 is discussion action, State of New Mexico audit contract, Batillo, Brown and Hill LLP. Ms. Danielle.
Good morning, Commissioners. What you have in your packet is the audit contract plus the approval letter from the Office of the State Auditor to go ahead and conduct this fiscal year or the fiscal year 2024 annual audit.
Commissioners, Commissioner Kern, any questions?
Yeah, I don't have any questions on this. How many more years do they have? Is this their last year on contract? One more?
One more.
So
It'll
this will be it?
Yes, because he went out in 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were getting close. Thank
I
you.
thought it was closer, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, so what is the limitation on an auditor now? Is it 6 years or did they reduce it?
I think it's still 8 years for right now.
Is it, I thought they reduced it. Didn't they reduce it? Oh,
Not yet. They're,
And if it doesn't affect any contracts that are in place right now.
yes.
oh, okay. That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no further questions. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern? Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 19, discussion action memorandum of understanding between Colfax County and the city of Raton for infant surrender boxes. Ms. Giacomo.
Not too far away.
Good morning. This is an MOU that our county attorney developed for the Colfax, for the county of Colfax and the city of Raton regarding the agreement for installing a baby box. The current agreement that we're looking at is for Colfax County to take care of the initial fee, delivery and installation by a contractor, as well as electrical and alarm hookup of a baby box to be installed at the Raton Fire Department. The city of Raton would take on responsibility after that point for the annual lease fee to Safe Haven, any term renewal fees, and also continued ongoing 24-hour alarm monitoring and insurance. So we're helping them get the initial startup, and then they'll running with it after that is completed. So this MOU will help us accomplish that.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Kern,
No questions?
Commissioner Ware.
Big supporter. Thank you for getting this done.
I had just one question, Taryn. Is everything, or two questions, I guess. One, is everything good to go on your end from what you've seen to go ahead and approve this today?
Yes, I have talked to DFA just regarding the payments between county and city to ensure that, the city would be the ones to sign the contract with Safe Haven. As it more pertains toward the ongoing lease maintenance of the baby box. So the box is not necessarily purchased. It is property of Safe Haven, but the initial fee is just to get that over here, get things installed and continue the maintenance. So I did ensure that with the grant funds that we have from DFA, that this MOU is acceptable as far as us providing funding to the city to accomplish this.
Okay. I know prior it said purchase should be probably taken out. And it still shows on our document here.
Okay, I think
So-
June sent this straight to Tina, so I would recommend taking out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the fourth paragraph, remove purchase.
Okay. Commissioners, any issues with that?
No.
No. So I'll entertain a motion to approve amending the MOU to strike the word purchase and off of paragraph 4 of the first page. There a second?
Sir.
Did I make it? Okay, I entertain a motion.
Right.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Or doing motions up
I
here.
will, yes, on the motion.
Yeah, and,
Yes.
Yes,
okay, motion carries.
thank you. All righty. Moving on to item number 20, discussion action memorandum of understanding between Colfax County and the Village of Angel Fire infant surrender boxes. Same
I
thing.
understand the Village of Angel Fire is interested in proceeding and looking into also installing a baby box. So we would propose the same sort of setup between the county and the village, wherein the county provides the initial fee, delivery and installation, and the village retains responsibility. So we do need further discussions with the village as far as reviewing the sample contract provided by Safe Haven. But this is just a first step toward working for that. So.
Thank you. Commissioners?
No question.
So, Mr. Chairman, I will say that the village is heavily in favor of this. As a matter of fact, we have a new fire station we're hoping to start construction on next summer. And it already has in the plans a baby box to be built into that new building. But in, things happen in government, there's no, you're not 100% certain that construction will start next year, and we don't want to take a chance. We are ready to put this in our current primary fire building and to support the baby box there. But I will have to say that I'll be required to abstain from voting on this.
Thank you. Well, I will make the motion, same motion as prior, to remove purchase and from paragraph 4 of the MOU.
Second.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Abstain.
Chairman Trio.
Yes, motion passes. I will request, so when we do it, when these boxes are actually set in place and active, re-invite DFA up and to maybe do like a ribbon cutting or ceremony to help them and they've been a good partner to work with and giving us the funding, and hopefully this will incentivize other counties across New Mexico to work with them and get these put in place. So thank you, Ms. Giacomo.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to item number 21, discussion of quarterly department updates. Mr. Stevens.
Morning, Sherman. Going back, on February 15th, we received one of our new lease loaders. On February 20th, the second new lease loader had arrived. The road department office did turn in all the vehicles in, make, model, color, and license plate numbers into the manager's office. For the auction, we roughly have about 33 vehicles for the auction. I am working with manager Jor to get this. Me and employee Joe Garcia attended the 811 call before you dig pipeline safety awareness training class. It was very informational. We received emergency contact list in case of an emergency if a pipeline is hit while we're digging. We have been doing a lot of training with various equipment with our two newest employees. We have a chance. We did get a few trees cut in the Maxwell area. We're hoping to get a lot more cut also in the Springer area. We've received multiple calls on cattle cards that are full that cattle are crossing. We have cleaned several in the Farley area and plan on cleaning some in the Tranchera area soon and also in the Moreno Valley. We are replacing two major irrigation culverts, one in Maxwell on A4 Highline Road and one at French Track on C16 Arapahoe Trail Road. The C16 Arapahoe Trail Road, we did replace that one yesterday. And the one on Highline Road on A4, we plan on replacing this Thursday. I'm very glad to hear we're going out to bid for the Chickarica Creek Crossing Bridge. The road department office had not been receiving messages on our answering for some reason, but Tammy got them going, so we're receiving messages. That's about all I have.
Commissioner Kern.
Thank you, Glenn. One question, which culvert on A4 is that?
It's the one right on the end, on the north side of 505.
In front of Johnson's house? That one?
I think you have a driveway. It's kind of where it lies right there.
That one?
Yeah. It's a 48 inch.
Yeah, it's a
41
big one.
foot.
Okay.
The bottom is completely rotted out. I didn't realize it till after we were hauling gravel over it.
Mhm.
I would have liked to replace it before we hauled gravel over it. Plan on replacing it Thursday.
Are there concrete head walls on that or? I know there's
yeah,
concrete.
around the sides.
Yeah.
Joe's gonna be there with grout to grout it in if needed. We are replacing it with the same size diameter of culvert. hopefully won't be too bad. I know there's a lot of gas lines that run under that.
Mhm.
I think they have, I think he told me it was 5-inch gas.
Yeah, there's a big one right there.
And so I'm gonna get a hold of Zia Gas, Joe Ronich, and Max Matz. All wanted me to get a hold of them and go to dig.
Mhm.
So they'll be on site.
Good.
As we dig it up.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Commissioner Ware? No questions. Oh, Mr. Chairman, I do have one. So any progress on finding a new roads crew person for Moreno Valley?
Not at this moment. Not for up there. I haven't had no applicants at all.
Any chance of, are you in that job? Are you requiring the person to live in Moreno Valley?
No, I mean, it would be nice, someone stationed there, especially in the winter time. Of course, it gives me a set of eyes. This winter's been rough, not having a set of eyes really up there to have certain people I can call to see what the weather's like up there.
We can make arrangements for people to call, but I would say, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. I think you're gonna just struggle based on the hourly wage we're paying to find somebody that can afford to live up there. And so I definitely would consider people out of Cimarron and those areas that don't mind driving up
Sure.
when you're looking for that position.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Weir, it is interesting you brought that up because Glenn and I have actually had that discussion with HR and even in advertising positions. And we have background where road and bridge personnel were paid a little bit more to use their personal car to go to the job site. And we're looking at all those recommendations right now. Personally, I think if we had somebody living in Cimarron, it wouldn't be that long of a drive up to Moreno Valley. They could get the equipment and start working. And I do appreciate the fact that you can have maybe some of your road and bridge personnel communicate with Superintendent Stevens and report on weather conditions up there.
Do you know the Public Works Director, Kurt Epler?
No.
All right, so we should make an appointment for you two to meet because he'll be happy to work with you.
Sure. And what was his name?
Kurt Epler. He's from the Springer Eplers.
Anything further?
Thank you.
Thank you. And Glenn, I just want to thank you and your crew. They're doing a good job. I've been talking to some other service providers, Baca Valley for one, and they've been very grateful and only have good things to say about the help that good working relationship you have with them. I do want to thank you for your crews, and I've been calling on them lately, especially that dump road. I appreciate your help with that. I know it's going to get beat to hell again with the summer construction that they have going on up there. And so I appreciate that. Are you still good for Thursday with us, or do we need to reschedule?
That would be fun.
Okay. And then just another thing, I'm going to ask the assessor, the clerk, and the county manager's office, including the road department, just to help us work together. And I'm going to try to find a map because I get called on these roads. I got called the other day and I'm ignorant of roads. Someone told me something, an A number, and I was trying to find it. I had the hardest time trying to find it, and goes by another name. So it was out there by, was it Whistlebone Road? Yeah. Anyways, out in my subdivisions, but out there, I just like to get a map, and it doesn't have to be exact, but just roughly, even if it goes into other districts, just to help with us commissioners, because we do get called quite often. on, this way we could pull out our map and say, okay, I know exactly where that is. And then most of the time before I even call the county manager to inform him of any issues, I try to drive out there myself to actually see if it is a real concern, or is it kind of just an over exaggeration of what's occurring, so I'm not wasting time. But, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to Madam Assessor.
Just a question. We did give you a map. Did that map not work for you?
It's just very big.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you guys could print that out, and I don't know,
I'll find out for you.
but if it's like a plat map, I was thinking the same size as a plat map would
Oh,
be
okay.
beneficial. So,
I'll find out for you.
thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Trujillo, Commissioners, Madam Clerk and County Manager. This is my quarterly report. State statute 7-38-20 requires the assessor office to send out notice of values. April 1st, the 2024 notices went out and we've been very busy. Phone calls, people coming in. Most of them have been very happy with their values. Some of them are, they just bought the property and they don't believe it's worth that amount, so they are protesting it. We had 19,000 notices to go out, and that is including residential, non-residential, livestock, business, personal property. And then of course, central assess, they send out their own notices. State statute 7-35-3 is the evaluation of the county assessor. April 3rd, I had to send everything to the state to give them all my documents for my interview on April 9th. My chief, Joseph Martinez, and my chief appraiser were included in it. It went really well. I've been doing this for 8 years and it was the shortest evaluation I've ever had. Usually it lasts 2 hours. This lasted 30 minutes. The comment the state guy said was Colfax County is doing their job. I'm gonna share that with you. My closing interview will be May 1st, and that just tells us what we need to do better, recommendations from the state. Let's see. After notices go out, of course, we have the protest season. That is between April 1st and May 1st. So you have like 1 more week to protest your value. Again, that's not a bad thing. If you do not agree with that value, come in and protest. Andy Fager will be leaving us the end of May. We were lucky to get Derek Garcia, which he was a certified appraiser. He took over and he is doing an awesome job. We were blessed. I do have 2 new hires, appraisers. I have Brian Cervantes and David Gonzalez, and we are sending them in July to the IAAO to get to start their first class, to go towards their certification. And so far they have been doing wonderful. State statute 7-36-16 requires the assessor to come forward in front of the commissioners and do my 2024-25 mission and my property valuation and maintenance program. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I'm going to spend more time on the valuations in the back. I have given that to you early enough to look at. So my mission, I'll just read my mission. The Colfax County Assessor is committed to serving the property owners of the county complying with the New Mexico state statutes and state taxation and revenue department property tax division rules and regulations. The assessor utilizes the department budget and available county property valuation program funds to successfully arrive to current and correct values throughout the county. Adequate funding, facilities, successful property valuation programs, successful property valuation programs result in current and correct property values are required by New Mexico state law. In this pamphlets that I gave you, tells you the yearly calendar of the events of the assessor's office. And boy, oh boy, there's a lot to do. So I just wanted to share that with you so you know what our office does. Going to the property valuation and maintenance program. I just want to let you know, my name is on this as the assessor, but my chief appraiser, Rick Aguilar, and my chief deputy, Joseph Martinez, helped me tremendous with this. I'm not going to go through this. I hope you all read through it so you know what the assessor's office does. It gives you everything we do, when everything is supposed to be handed to the state. It does have a 2023 appraisal productivity, a 2024 reappraisal. The sales ratio study is what the state does. We are mandated to send our sales into them, and they take it and they look if we are in the area of our, if they're current and correct. And Colfax County always has a good, I'm not going to talk medium and COD. You guys have no idea what that is. Long as it's in that percentage that the state requires. I did put in my copy of my 2024 notice of value that was approved by the state. I put in a value tracking summary. That is what we use when certification comes up. That is all the new construction in the area. And then of course, there's a lot more information in here. And the back part is all the valuations by school district. And let's see, Angel Fire area, the non-residential went down a little bit due to agricultural land. We lose a lot when we turn it into agricultural. I think it was a Springer non-residential. And let's see. I think that was the only other. Other than that, they all went up. And at the last part, we are up 26,610,504 taxable value. That is not assessed value, that is taxable value. That is income. Any questions?
Commissioners?
No questions? Thank you.
Commissioner Ware?
Nope.
And thank you, Madam Assessor. Appreciate it. And we still haven't forgot about still trying to get the GIS system. Hopefully we'll.
That was my question. And they do have some questions, and I know that they're working on our wall because I saw Fred and Mark Honeyfield in there. And I appreciate Mary Lou speaking up the last meeting, stating 500,000 for fixing the wall and this other stuff. I do appreciate that. I hope it gets fixed as soon as possible. I do want to get rid of my Dodge Durango and my Escape. And I was wondering, is there any kind of like auctions going on that we could get rid of them? Could we donate them to, does anybody need them?
Yeah, the county manager could assist you with that. There's going to be a county auction coming.
Because I want to get a new truck and we just don't use those because they're older vehicles. So also I talked to Monty about getting the little area by our office that Rieta had. I don't know how far that has gone, but.
We can certainly talk about that. And as far as your building, or your office and some of the repairs and stuff like that, if you like, during my docket, I can have Fred come up and kind of tell you how things have been going, and he can advise the commission as well.
And I know there's wires hanging that Baca Valley hasn't come to fix, and that like looks kind of bad too. So I just want to throw that up there. And I think that's it.
Well, thank you. And as soon as
But I do want to thank my staff, and Joe and Rick have helped me so much, but my staff they're amazing. You know, when I'm out of the office, they take care of stuff, and I do want to thank them.
Yeah. I'm gonna be sad to see Andy go. He's always a big help when I go down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Trying to figure stuff out. So.
And we're gonna miss him.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go on to Madam Treasurer.
Okay. We've been busy this last quarter. Seems like we're always busy. We sent out in February courtesy notices to our delinquent property tax owners. So they would pay before they go to state. Because if they go to state, then we lose out on interest and penalty, and they get a cost to state. We also had Chris Morris. She's worked with getting our finance companies taken off. She's gone through through everybody, because they don't know when they pay off to contact us to remove the flag and get a current address and make sure the ownership is updated. And it is a taxpayer responsibility. Still working with credit card company and our software company to get, we are right now with Forte, their fees are quite a bit higher than what I've gotten. But they're working with Triadic, so we can come on. So haven't got your handheld or anything. We're still in the process. Of course, the investment policy was passed today. And thanks to Linda Mascareñas for helping. And Brooke is our new employee. She's learned really at a fast rate. And we're happy to have her on board. She is taking more and more responsibilities. We also had a property tax sale on March 20th. And I think all the properties did sell. They were reoffered, so we won't quite get all the monies. And with the financial policy, we did get our locked bags. So we take them to the bank, so they're locked up with a key. We're cleaning files. We're also hoping, Alfonso and the girls decided they'd like to have the clerk's office. If we can get that for safety, because we don't have, we could jump out the window, I guess, if we had a fire or something, but that's not safe for us, so they're worried about that. We're right now in our second half taxes from April 10th to May 10th. So we're hoping to collect some money. And now working on the budget. So you have any questions?
Commissioner Kern? Commissioner Ware?
We're just busy.
Well, thank you for everything you and your office is doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dominguez, is anything on the sheriff department?
No, we did not.
You're good. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
I didn't do one either, just kidding.
All right, moving on.
I'll just make it real brief. Marriage licenses have been slow, but they'll creep up on us pretty soon. We've issued 79 business registrations. Thank you to Tina for always making sure that they get their business registration through the lodger's tax. We've 15 probates. We recorded 1,228 documents. We've been staying up with the minutes and collecting for copies of microfiche. We did we are moving to the office next door. All of our stuff, a lot of our stuff is there, but we don't have everything. We're not going to have the room for the books and all that stuff. So you guys will need to decide if we just lock those cabinets and leave them in there since they're a piece of history from Colfax County, or what you guys want to do with them. Don't want to have them destroyed, but you guys are the ones with the final say. I want to thank the road department, IT and maintenance for helping us get into our new building and moving the equipment. We're still waiting on our parking signs to get installed. Sorry, Fred. We did order our sign for the building to the signage, and that should be here this week. And that shouldn't be too hard for us to get it installed. My staff did an amazing job. They were the ones that assembled the desks, the bookshelves, and the filing cabinets, and have moved a lot of the stuff that we have taken over there. We are starting to prepare for the 2024 primary election, scheduling workers and setting up the mobile voting site. So we will be taking that out. Sarah and I attended election school. While we were on our way to election school, we stopped at the state surplus, and we did get purchase some stuff over there. I'll have to get with either the road department or maintenance. And the sheriff also offered to see if they could go pick up our stuff for us. I've been working with the sheriff's department for pricing tires for our election trailer that haul our machines out. The tires were pretty bad on it. And we will be working with Julie and Michael on Wednesday to move our machines next door with the Tommy lift truck. And then the big scanner that we still have in the clerk's office, I'm getting a quote on what it'll cost us to move that big scanner. I also did speak with the assessor's office and let Joe know if you guys need to have anything printed, you guys can do it via a zip file or a thumb drive and take it and it'll print for you guys. So we don't have a problem with you guys acting on that if you need it. And I think that's all we've been doing in a nutshell.
Thank you. Does early voting start?
It'll start in May. We'll get our cards back. By Monday, we will go in and Sarah and I will run the test decks through so that we can upload for the mock elections. And then we will. The 7th is when it starts. And then we will certify machines May the 1st. So we will be hitting the ground running with that election pretty quick.
Thank you. I'd like to attend the certifying of the machines. I've never seen it, so
You are more than welcome. We started on the 1st.
I'll check my calendar and try to be there.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Kern? Commissioner Ware?
Mr. Chairman, the only thing I wanted to share is just an update on the ROC program that the county has supported. That's where through North Central New Mexico Economic Development, where they're going to be looking to acquire unoccupied homes, refurbing them, and then selling them back on the market. We did go out to RFP to try and bring in someone to manage that program, which, as you guys know, the county has graciously offered $100,000 for that process. We did get a single entry for that. The person that entered it had very good construction skills. As a matter of fact, they're already doing work with North Central on some elderly housing projects. They were a little shy in reporting and in the real estate aspects of that job. So North Central did extend that RFP period for 2 weeks, but hopefully we'll be able to actually have a vendor selected and the work begin sometime the first part of June. So just wanted to give you guys an update on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Ware. Anything, did we get all the elected offices? I believe so, huh? So I guess we'll go ahead and move on to item number 22, manager's docket.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to report last Thursday, Chairman Trujillo and I went to Santa Fe, talked to DFA personnel there. And all I'm going to say is I felt it was a terrific meeting. Chairman Trujillo was able to bring up some very specific issues, and I'll let him go ahead and get into more detail on his docket. If I could have IT go ahead and pull up the revised letter that we're going to be sending out to our citizens. At the last 2 meetings, I know the manager's office was directed to kind of look at amending resolution 2024-15 solid waste fee. And we actually put some, we did amend that with how residents could pay for solid waste fees. What I did is I was directed at the last meeting by the commission to kind of give a little bit more information and include some of that verbiage. And what I thought we would do is just kind of present everything that we've been doing with solid waste and kind of in a newsletter approach. So I said, dear valued customers, Colfax County is contracted with Jonathan Arthur, owner of Arthur Roloff. His business is in Raton, New Mexico, not out of state as before. The commissioners, county manager, solid waste staff, and Arthur Roloff have worked diligently to make improvements in solid waste operations in Colfax County. Arthur Roloff purchased the tri-state dumpsters and has purchased a trash truck to design, pick up this style of dumpster. They have additionally purchased new trash truck, which is being built, so there will be backup when needed. This is essential in creating a seamless transition without disruption of service and averted the requirement to have a more complex contingency plan. Most of the dumpsters are damaged and will need to be repaired, restored, and painted. Arthur Roloff has additionally ordered new dumpsters, and these were just delivered. The goal and objectives are to have all this work completed by the end of the summer while maintaining strict pickup schedules. Bills for residents, solid waste management fees are mailed annually in advance. Private commercial billings are mailed quarterly. A 1.5 late fee will be assessed monthly beginning in 2024. On delinquent accounts, the solid waste management fees may be paid in 2 installments of each fiscal year. The first installment is due no later than April, and the second installment will be due no later than October. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact our solid waste coordinator at 505-398-6902. So I do think that that probably fulfills all the suggestions and requirements by the commission. If there's any other suggestions on that, please let me know, and we can certainly make changes.
Yes.
County manager, Mr. Chairman, county manager. So is that gonna go, that's gonna go out separate from billing or anything? We're just gonna send that out like next week or?
It's already gone out.
We're gonna send it out as soon as possible. And basically, like I said, this is gonna be kind of a newsletter. And I took the direction from the commission at the last meeting and thought we would just add to it a little bit and let people know kind of what's going on. And we know that fees went up and what they're getting for that increase. And I think that Jonathan Arthur, I know within the county, you have probably seen his trucks going out with some of the new dumpsters, and he's positioning them. Last time I talked to him, he's having to make a modification on some of those. But once again, I think this was exactly the right thing to do. And so far, we are moving full force to see that it's successful. And even to have Jonathan Arthur say that by the end of the summer, he's going to have all of the dumpsters repaired, fixed, modified, and repainted. I think that's a big job, but I believe he's going to do it.
Thank you. Has this already went out, this letter?
It has not went out. I thought I would wait for any input by the commission, and if there's any changes, we can certainly do that, then we can get it out.
Commissioner Kern?
Trash truck shouldn't be capitalized.
Okay.
But I think it's good and informative.
Thank you very much. We'll make that change and get it out.
It's on an old letterhead, but that's,
Yeah.
and then other than that, I think it's okay.
Hey, I like that letterhead.
Make no difference to me, so.
No, you need to put it on the right letterhead. I didn't know.
We'll get it on our right letterhead.
All righty. Anything further, county manager?
Yes. So anyway, we are looking at, well, first of all, I just wanted to say on the open money and stuff like that, I absolutely agree with the commission. I think we need to work with our detention center. I think there's some programs that we could certainly would meet the criteria for spending some of that money. And right now with the fentanyl and drug issues, it's not only in our county, but throughout the country right now. I think that having some of those boxes put at different specific locations around the county and advertising that would actually be a very positive thing. Because as I'll get into in just a minute, this is a big issue nationwide, and it's a big issue in our county, and anything we can do to help and to save lives, I think is exactly the right thing to do. Once again, Glenn has been working on getting vehicle information. I think he's turned in information on 33 vehicles. I've talked with Jonah, kind of on moving forward with the auction. Right now, obviously we're in budget. And as soon as we get completed with budget, we're going to be going into audits. So we think probably the best time to actually set up the auction itself will be probably towards the fall, when some of those big responsibilities are dealt with. And one of the things I know sometimes our maintenance department gets tasked with a lot of work, and sometimes it does seem like things take a while to get done. And with that, I'd like to have our maintenance director, Fred, just come up. I know he has been working very diligently to fix different things. And one of those was a water damage in the assessor's office. And Fred, will you just kind of let everybody know what links you went to kind of address those, and how many contractors you have been through, and kind of where we're at in the scheme of things?
Yes, good morning. As Monty has said, one of the biggest problems that we've had, or I've had, is actually getting a contractor to come in and do some of the work that needs to be done. And it has to be licensed contractors to do that. It's not just run of the mill, changing outlets and stuff like that. It's their major jobs. On this particular job that we're talking about, the assessor, there is a leak that we have. It's pertaining right here behind you. I've contacted 5 different contractors, licensed contractors. I've only got one bid. That was Mark Honey. And that's where we came up, and we started looking at some of these projects that I have. And we are going to fix this one here. We're actually going to start on the ramp coming in on the south side of the building first. We're going to start on that on Friday. He's going to jackhammer the old concrete out and find out how thick it is. And then we're going to pour the following Friday. Is what we're looking at. The reason why it's going to take so long is as of right now, BTU is mixing with hot water, and they'll be changing to cold water. And it's a little bit different application when you do it hot and cold. We've got this project will be coming next. He's going to jump on that as soon as possible. He'll fix this wall, the leak here, and then he'll go down and fix the patching of the wall downstairs. We've also had a water leak that happened at the Team Builders building there by the school. And he's also going to put in a bid to fix that, which he has already done that. He's also going to do a roof on some little buildings that we've had at the judicial that Leonard has donated to us, give us, so we can store our gas and stuff like that. And he's going to be looking at putting in a roof there. But primarily our biggest problem has been the lack of contractors to do even major plumbing stuff that we need. Just, yeah, or they're just busy. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fred. Appreciate all the work you do. Once again, the commission has directed me to work on some of the buildings that we identified. The buildings were primarily identified because of maintenance issues, things like that. And the county sees an opportunity to maybe work to make changes and turn these over to other ownership. One of the buildings that we own outright, as everybody is aware, is Youth Heartline. I did reach out to the executive director. And by the way, commission, I did go to the movie, took my wife, and I also went to the dance that they put on. They did a fantastic job, and they really are truly a benefit for this community. And it was heartwarming to see all that they do. Their board is interested in working on a deal where we could sell that building to them. I think that would be awesome to do that. And right now, our attorney and their attorney are kind of working on the contracts and kind of based on their budget to see exactly how we could make that happen. I have reached out to the Raton city manager. to talk to him about the team builders, building. Once again, we're under kind of specific requirements on the other three buildings on how we might be able to, for instance, if we sell those, the money would have to go back to the federal government. And there's a lot of work involved. So we're looking to see exactly how we can move forward. I know that the team builders building is right on the school campus. I have talked to the business manager and they want it. I have two calls into her at this point. She has not returned a call, but I know they're busy right now. So I have made arrangements to meet with Rick Mestis today at noon over lunch. Kind of see what we can do on the contract, the way it was written. It does appear that if the city is willing to allow the county to turn that over to the school, that was perfectly acceptable, and that would be something we could do based on the terms of the contract. So we're looking at that. I have contacted Mora, Head Start, and asked for the executive director to give me a call. As of this date, she has not called me back, but I will continue to work on that, on starting a dialogue with her. Safety plan, Joe and I have kind of been working on that. I think we got through the first 28 pages yesterday. And we've set an appointment to meet every Monday at 1:30 right after lunch to go ahead and continue to kind of fill in the blanks, as it were, on that and get that completed. We are working right now with the treasurer. The treasurer has indicated a desire to move the area vacated by the county clerk. One of the reasons is it does have better egress in case of a fire, things like that. So we're kind of working right now with IT to see exactly what we would need to do to make that happen. And certainly if the clerk, or excuse me, certainly if the treasurer wants to move into that space, they can certainly do that. So we're looking at that. One thing I did notify the commission about, and once again, it kind of gets back to some of the illegal drug issues that we have nationwide and in our community. And I just really wanted to commend our warden out at the jail. And I also wanted to commend Sergeant Armio, Officer Infield, and Officer Hightree. We did have an inmate on Sunday overdose at the jail. And as a first responder, one of the worst things you want to hear is you have a non-responsive person. And that's exactly the call I got. When you get that call, it's usually not good. And that's a call that I got Sunday evening. They delivered, those staff members delivered several doses of Narcan, called for an ambulance, followed proper procedure protocols, and got the individual to the hospital. I believe through their actions, they saved that inmate's life. And that is the power of Narcan and properly training people. But I just really wanted to thank the warden and thank those staff members for being on watch, for doing what they're supposed to do, and for taking the necessary steps to save a life. One other mention for the jail is I did get a letter from Christy Guerin, and this was sent to the warden. It said, before I laid my head down to sleep tonight, I wanted you to know the last few nights I spent at your detention center were actually super enjoyable and wonderful, and I'm not joking. I have been misunderstood. She has some issues with a law enforcement agency I won't name. And she goes on to say, I've had my court with the Honorable Judge Amy. FYI, the food is really good. So I think anytime you get that kind of feedback from an inmate staying in our facility, it reassures me as the county manager, and it should reassure you as the county commission that they're doing a good job at the jail. And they're saving lives, and it doesn't get much better than that. One of the things that we did with the jail, maintenance and road and bridge is each one of those department heads has actually did a minor kind of survey analysis with surrounding counties and involving the state. With that salary survey, they got numbers as far as where staff are starting, what our competitors are paying for staff. And we'll continue to present that information in these budget workshops and things like that. But I think they did a lot of good work as far as putting in the effort to see what other agencies and neighbors are paying. And once again, as we discussed even with the sheriff's office, we're in a very competitive time for employees. And we've had positions open in our road and bridge department, in our maintenance department, and in our jail for some time. So I would just ask the commission as we continue this process to keep that in mind, and of all the county departments within Colfax County government, as it is within any county, the biggest liability is the jail. And that's where you are going to see people come in and even as good as our scanner is and things like that, they're going to get drugs in and potentially overdose. So just keep that in mind as we're going through this budget process. I know with Glenn, we've got a lot of roads that need to be maintained, and there's a lot of pressure on his department. And this county has everybody is aware, is bigger than a lot of states. It's a huge county. And for 9 people to be taking care of all the roads, that's quite a responsibility that the road superintendent has. Other than that, I think they're doing a good job. And at this point, I'll go ahead and take any questions by the commission.
Commissioner Kern?
No questions, but I think if somebody thinks a night in jail is enjoyable, I hate to see what the rest of life is like.
Vice Chair Kern, I agree with that.
Commissioner Ware?
No questions.
I don't have any questions either. Thank you, County Manager. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 23 is Commissioner Docket. Commissioner Kern.
Two things. If you're, I have kind of confused on how we can be talking, sending on the Youth Heartline building that the attorneys are working on a contract when we haven't even set a price or anything yet. Seems like we've got the cart in front of the horse a little bit there. Maybe there's something I'm not aware of, but you know, we haven't even gone through the process of an appraisal. I know we looked at what the assessor valued it at and that, but seems like we're a little bit ahead of ourselves on that. And I hope that, I know the road department is incredibly busy, but I hope that they can get back on trees at some point in time. Because we've got, my neighbors can't get semis in because the truckers won't come in because it tears up the lights and their rigs and everything. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Kern. We'll certainly keep working on the roads. And I think the methodology that we're looking at for Youth Heartline was to kind of, we have a preliminary assessment on the value, and just to see if actually Youth Heartline is financially able to come up with a reasonable amount. I think that's what the attorneys are kind of working together on. I think after that, then we can go ahead. We understand that we have other requirements like going to the state and getting a certified audit there. And we'll continue to proceed with that process.
I think we need to get an appraisal before, because this, the values could come in drastically different, so. I look at it from a purchasing standpoint. I'm not gonna even talk about a contract until we're knowing how much we're talking about. Thank you.
Commissioner Weir?
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I don't have anything to add. I do want to reiterate from our budget meeting earlier today. I do have concerns about the size of our expenditure and especially in the general fund and in this budget. And I think we need to really understand and make sure that we're able to do that level of expenditure and not put us in trouble for next year.
Thank you, Commissioner Weir. Just to follow up with kind of what the county manager said this last Thursday, I did go to Santa Fe and meet with the Department of Finance, the local government division, their division director, and a whole bunch of others as well with DFA. It was a very productive meeting. They pretty much lined out the few items that they would like to see addressed within our policies with our procurement. And they outlined it pretty clearly, and it should just take some small adjustments. And they pretty much said if we were able to satisfy this requirement and send it to them, that they'd see no issue with us being our own fiscal agent moving forward. It'd have to be really reevaluated at that time that it's done, but it should be able to be moved forward. So that was very nice. It was actually very informative and very good. I didn't even know I knew that much about it. So, and I was over there explaining our process of procurement and signing off on everything. So it was really good. We also received a letter on that Thursday or Wednesday evening from the Department of Finance as to requesting some more information from our 2023 audit. I know the county manager is working on this and should get it completed hopefully by end of week and sent to Michael, our analyst for Colfax County. Let's see here. I already talked about the roads. Thank you, Glenn, for your help. I know you're gonna, on Thursday, I plan to go out with the roads manager and county manager to just review a couple of the roads in my district and get Glenn's feedback and opinions. The other thing is, I guess, county manager, do you know where we stand on the law library upstairs? If we were needing room or maybe moving the clerk's stuff, if that space is available or not.
Let me do some checking on that. I know the fire marshal was kind of looking into some of that. And let me get with him and kind of see where we're at, and I'll report back to the commission.
Okay, thank you. That is all I have. Commissioners, any questions, comments? None?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
One thing, when we left Thursday, I did have Karen and Susie kind of work on working with the department heads and stuff like that for our capital improvement plan. And she is available. And if the commission would like to hear just kind of a briefing on that, I can certainly have her come up and report.
And this is on the ICIP? Or what is it?
ICIP.
Commissioners? Any next meeting?
Yeah, she gave us a copy, let us review it.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
County manager, just, yeah, next meeting would be fine if he could just provide a copy to the commission beforehand. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Seeing nothing further, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and second, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern? Yes. Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
So bad, I want to say no, but yes.